final comment, a very quick one here.
Oh, I haven't said a thing. Okay, here is the deal. The debate is not on free and open. The debate is on willingness. Are you willing to share? Let me bring the Dalai Lama into this debate. The Dalai Lama says, if you want to be immortal, share your knowledge. And at the opening here, they told us that knowledge is no longer in books on your shelves. It is somewhere else. Who are you? What will you write in your small university of not more than 100,000 students? The whole world is 6 billion. Put out the knowledge out there. That is how Harvard became Harvard. Please share. That is the only way of guaranteeing that you will live after you die. Thank you.
Okay, well, thank you for that. And that was a good note to end on. And thank you, all of you, for your contributions as well. And if you weren't all such honest people, I would say that a few of you could make a good career in politics. But I won't suggest that. So we'll now move on to our summing up speeches. And I'm going to ask the opposers of the motion to speak first, just to sum up their arguments. And they've got 5 minutes on that. And then I'll call the proposers. Bakar.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I still believe in e-learning. I still believe in progress. I still believe, and I will always believe in sharing. You see, the notion of sharing and community is not only for OER. I grew up in a small village somewhere in Senegal. And those of you who know village, you could say that daycare was free because you all used to run around, and it was the responsibility of each adult in the community to look after us. That sharing. Everyone brings something, we all share, and we have greater benefits. This is not very different from the philosophy of open education resources and OCWs. It is that if you have a good material and you share it with you, you bring what you have, we put it together, we have better product. This is the main philosophy behind it. But to get back to the motion, I will read it and say why I'm against it. This House believes that the OER movement is fundamentally flawed because it's based on the false assumption that education institutions are willing to share resources freely and openly. Once again, this movement started some 10 years ago. Today, there are 18,000 courses available, which means that universities actually are participating every day. The number is growing. MIT website is accessed by 1 million people every month, and since the last 10 years, been 77 million people. What we are saying is, since the number is increasing, it's not decreasing. This assumption, this motion, I think that we are against because it's not representing the facts. And 3 quick points. Finally, certificate, because this issue came up a lot. You know, and this will be my closing remark, we have real needs in Africa. One of the barriers to accessing quality higher education is the availability of quality materials in universities. This is a reality, it's not fake. If a university in Africa or anywhere else are working hard and put their high quality materials, and the universities in Africa or anywhere else think that this is good, we can use it, and it is up to their standard. No one is forcing anyone to use it. And like I said at the beginning, I'm for progress, and my two friends here, as you can see, they even refuse to put ties on. Actually, I would call my friends activists against progress. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Bakary. So to sum up for the proposition, Neil Butcher.
Yes, it's true, we don't wear ties, because that's the veneer of institutional respectability that is exactly what is resisting change. I don't believe in e-learning. I believe that educators should use technology effectively to deliver high-quality teaching and learning to their students. I know that most e-learning does the opposite, because I've engaged with it. I've seen what most institutions are using technology for. They are using technology to replicate old styles of teaching and learning that are redundant, that are not helping our students to learn properly, and that are not making them effective graduates when they go out into the world. I also know that educational institutions are part of the problem that we have to grapple with in dealing with progress. We have fundamental problems in the ability of our education systems to deliver the level, scale, and quality of education that our students, our children, and ourselves need to grow and develop our societies. And the problem with the OER movement is that what it's doing is it's creating the veneer of change, because institutions are releasing all these open courses, and more institutions will do it. But underneath that, they are behaving the same way that they have behaved for the last 200 years. And we need to force them to change, the way you just said. When Mubarak was in power and he claimed that what happened in Tunisia wasn't going to happen in Egypt, he was wrong because the people forced him to be wrong. He wasn't wrong because he willingly made a choice to change. And in the same way, educational institutions, there are the very minority of exceptions. Those tend to be the very well-resourced institutions that have the ability, like MIT, for example, to leverage these kinds of trends to their strategic advantage. MIT's biggest benefit from releasing its courses has been using those course materials to market itself to institutions and to students around the world, so that it increases the fees that it charges to students because of its increased reputation. This is not my imagination of a better educational world. So we all agree that openness is good. We all like the concept of free. We all understand that you have to pay for things, because that's the reality of the world we live in. But what we must more importantly understand is that if we want meaningful education to take place in our countries, we have to force it through the education systems, because the education systems and the institutions that sit at the center of them are showing no willingness to make that change themselves. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Neil, and thank you again to all of our speakers for what has been an excellent debate. You've heard all the arguments, so it's now time to move to the vote and time for you to make up your minds. And I'll just remind you again that the motion is that this House believes that the OER movement is fundamentally flawed because it's based on the false assumption that education institutions are willing to share resources freely and openly. All those in favour of the motion, please raise their right hand or their left hand, but only one hand. And all those against? Well, I would say, Charles, that the opposition have it. Quite a narrow result, but I think the opposition have it. So congratulations to the opposition. And thank you once again, all of you, for taking part in this debate, which is now closed. I'm now just going to hand it back to Charles again to introduce our closing speaker, who is the Minister for Labour and Employment, who is going to close the conference. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Harold. And possibly we need also to put our hands together for Harold, who has done quite a wonderful job in managing the debate. And then also to all of you who now qualify to go back to your countries and become members of parliament, because you've participated so well. Put your hands together for yourself. Now I have good news for you, because while we were here, we actually had our Minister for Labour and Employment, who was closely following the debate and seeing how you were participating in this, and she's really ready to now close the conference. Before she comes on the podium, may I take this opportunity to introduce Honorable Gaudensia Mugosi Kabaka, Member of Parliament, Minister for Labour and Employment. Honorable Gaudensia Kabaka has a long history of politics. She started long time ago, in 1974, when the ruling party was by then TANU. For those who are Tanzanians will know that. And later on in 1977 when we had CCM. And by then, she was a member of branch executive committee of the ruling party. Later on in 2003, under the ruling party, she became a member of the National General Assembly, and thereafter moved to become a member of the Women Council, district and regional as well. Thereafter, she moved higher in the ranks and became a deputy minister at the Ministry of Education and Vocational Training in 2005. Thereafter, in 2006, where she became a minister, Ministry of Science, Technology, and Higher Education. Last year, after the elections, which was really rigorous, she was appointed the Minister for Labour and Employment. Let's put our hands together for the Minister for Labour and Employment, Honorable Gaudensia Mugosi Kabaka. Welcome, Minister. Honorable Minister, may I request you to go into the podium straight, possibly?
Chairperson of this session, Dr. Sankoro, honorable ministers who are here present, workshop organizers, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, good evening to you all. First of all, I would like to take this opportunity to let you know that I have really enjoyed the debate. as I think most of you have done. It was very well organized, lots of thoughts, and I think most of the debaters believed in what they were saying. And I think for most of you, you will live after you die because of this debate today. But some will live longer after they die. It is really my great pleasure to participate also in the event of closing this important conference. On behalf of the Minister of Education and Vocational Training, we as Tanzanians feel greatly honored to be the host of the 6th International Conference on ICT for Development, Education and Training, which had focused on youth, skills, and employability. At this important occasion, it is my belief, and I think the expectation of many of you who have had an opportunity to participate in this conference, that your being here has not only witnessed challenges we experience in our countries in terms of the deliberations we are making towards maximization and utilization of information technology, but indeed it has gathered many an insight to equip the struggles we are making to the success end. Ladies and gentlemen, first and foremost, may I take this opportunity to thank all of you who contributed in one way or another in making this event such a success. And I have been told that this has been really the most successful e-learning conference out of the 5 ones which have occurred in the 5 succeeding countries. I realize the keen role played by my government, Tanzania, in collaboration with the international conferences, workshops, and exhibitions has made this conference a success. I also sincerely thank all key participants, some who have traveled long distances to come and deliver presentations and show exhibitions without asking to be remunerated for the same. And these are the ones whom I said will live longer after they die. I recall this to be the spirit of our great scientific forefathers, for without their unwavering generosity, the world wouldn't have been what we see it today. Distinguished participants, probably time has not been long enough to see the other non-ICT side of Tanzania. It is a great country, as you may believe, you may have seen it, a land of Kilimanjaro and Zanzibar, and a very homely country. I hope you will agree with me. I'm not talking of the honey and the milk of the tropical abundance, but I'm talking of the people called Tanzanians and their country. Peaceful, stable, and merry. May I therefore take this opportunity outside my speech to welcome you people to find some time long enough to visit and experience what Tanzania is. Because we have only been in Dar es Salaam, we have not been to Tanzania as a country. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished participants, this is the 6th International Conference on ICT with focus on development, education, and training in Africa. It is an annual event which has kept rolling from Addis, Ethiopia in 2006 to Kenya, Ghana, Senegal, and Zambia last year. Many achievements have been registered after these events, I believe, in terms of adaptation to new innovations and skills. And it is my hope that this year's event will add a notch higher in the radar of success. I am informed that the theme for this year has zeroed on youth, skills and employability, and my ministry, of course, deals with these things, it is perceived that it is not only in Africa where nations face, rather suffer from dynamics emanating from ways of seeking solutions to the youth. Youth is a rapidly growing power elsewhere, a fact also acknowledged in Africa. Your conference has deliberated on education, especially education for the youth. All our schools are nothing but the youth. A youth in hunger of knowledge in terms of insufficient basic education, a youth lacking requisite, sometimes appropriate skills for well-being, if not for survival. These are a group of us with a diversified background and settings, and therefore will require multi-pronged solutions approach, which the information technology, indeed your eLearning Africa conference, is bound and set to address. You have gone through some e-learning concepts which could add value to the traditional pedagogy, and in a way may not only try to minimize the gap you are familiar of electronically, but indeed achieve the desired goal of building long capacity for economical development. Finally, dear participants, youths require relevant knowledge and skills to make them viable and compete in the labor market, and hence become employable and professionally productive. It is imperative to note that knowledge and the skills required of the youth should lead into self-employment. This is when lifelong skills would be sustainable. May this be the desire for all of us and for all of our countries, especially in the African continent. Ladies and gentlemen, you have seen paper presentations, some of which with empirical suggestions. You had also an opportunity to see the showcasing of innovative minds in terms of phototypes and actuals. You had seen and actually experienced in the showcases first-hand best practice information in your environments or from the environments similar to yours. These and more could be better inputs, much more needed for the conclusion of this conference. Distinguished participants, before conclude, I'm not actually intending to give a long speech after such a very hot and valuable debate. But before concluding my remarks, I once again appreciate your engagement and a valuable contribution during the conference, which I believe are a seed planted for future partnership. And also I believe that the lives of many individuals, especially youths, will be reformed. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished participants, it is time to part. And therefore, let me take this opportunity to wish you all a safe journey back to your destinations and homes. Let me use this opportunity to welcome you back to Tanzania. The first day when we were here, when we went for dinner, I remember one of our colleagues, a minister, when we saw we were at the Golden Tulip, seeing the cliff at the side of the hotel, he remarked and said, I'm going back, but I'm going to take my wife back to this place. You may not have a wife to take back to Tanzania, but you can come alone. But also we have very beautiful girls here who are in need of getting married to one of the African guys. You may choose to holiday. You are welcome to attend other future events. You are urged to come and partner with our ICT for education initiatives. You are invited to invest in this part of the world. further, I'm informed that there is a kind of extension on eLearning Africa 2011 going to occur in Zanzibar this Monday, 30th. You may wish to find the modalities there too. Now, with these few words, as always the practice of politicians, after talking for some time, let me now declare that the 6th International Conference on ICT for Development, Education and Training in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania is officially closed. Thank you for your very good attention. Karibuni sana. Karibuni sana. Karibuni sana. Safari njema. Thank you very much.